Welcome to the Photopea tutorial. Now, if you're wondering what Photopea is, it's basically Adobe Photoshop, but the difference is that it's free and it's on your browser. The URL is photopea.com. It's that simple. So let's begin. There's 4 options: new project, open from computer, templates, and install Photopea. Now, of course, we want to make a new project, so I'm going to press new project over here. And as you can see, we can change the name. We have the width and height, and we can change the pixels to centimeters or inches. I'm going to do pixels. And as you can see over here, print, photo, screen, all this are like free blank templates. And over here, there are also some extra templates to use, like hello world, wake me up, all that stuff. But either way, we're gonna create. So as you can see, we have this blank canvas over here, and on the left we have all these tools, and on the right we have our layers. Now this is our background layer. I can press this icon, remove it, get it back on. Now let's get our image here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna search for an image or something. Okay, let's search for cat, and let's do this cat. There we go. All right, and if I use my left click and hold it, I can move this around. These blue corners can also help you resize. So now I'm gonna move this so it's in the center. It fills up the frame, and it's actually layer 1. If I press this icon again, it removes it, comes back. Now let's go to the magic tool and see what we got. So first of all, we got the mouse icon. If you right click, there's the move tool and the artboard tool. You don't need to worry about that. This is basically if you want to click on stuff. Now we have this, which is the select tool, and what this does is, let's say for example, I really don't want the cat's eyes for some random reason. So I'm gonna right click on here, press ellipse select, and what I'm gonna do is hold my left click and kind of move it around, see? And as you can see, I have like a lasso right over here. If I press the backspace, it deletes it, and it looks kind of bad, obviously. And also make sure that this is on your layer, because you can see that this is transparent. That's because I was selecting on the background layer. Don't do that mistake. Now let's just Control Z, and Control Z means you're undoing all your mistakes, and Shift Control Z, don't undo, you basically redo it. So now if I right click this thing, I'll deselect, and there's also a rectangle thing like this on layer, delete. Now let's move on to lasso tool. And lasso tool is basically similar to the rectangle tool, except you can draw now. So I could just go up over here and let's fill it up. So now we basically have this outline of the cat, and now you can do multiple things, like for example, you can fill it. As you can see, I can also do a stroke. Now look at that. There's many more lasso tools like this one, where it goes around as a line and stuff like that. But we're not going to focus on that right now. Now we're going to move on to the magic wand tool. Using magic wand, let's say I want to remove all this green. Well, it's really simple. I press the green. As you can see, I'm holding on my left click and moving it around, trying to make it so that it gets the whole green out. So when I actually delete, there you go, it deletes most of it. Now let's move on to the cropping tool. Using these blue corners, you can crop it for whatever you like. Let's say I just want the cat, not this goofy green background or something. And then after that, we basically got this cat. But we can also use the perspective crop. And this is pretty good because it's basically like 3D perspective. So as you can see, moving these blue corners around, it makes it look really 3D. Now as you can see, it's slightly in a weird perspective, a little bit 3D. Now let's move on to the picker tool. So as you can see, if I select this, and if I go on my photo, and let's say I want this green as a color, just press on it and hold. If I move around and hold it, it can choose the color for me. So I'm gonna choose this green background. And as you can see over here, it already has the color picker for me. Because if I want to draw something, I'll show this later. See, now it's basically almost the same color. Now moving on to the healing brush. All this stuff to help heal your picture, remove something, and you can right click to get all these options, by the way. Guys, I hate these whiskers. So what I'm gonna do is, on the top, I can actually change my brush size. And now, I can highlight all these whiskers, and then it removes it for me. Now it's not the greatest because this is not for specific stuff. This is for more like background people and stuff like that. But it is greatly useful indeed. Now let's move on to the brush tool. And I already showed how this works, but as you can see, brush tool, pencil tool, color replacement. I'm mainly focusing on brush tool. Outline this cat. I can even go to these colors change it to red. I could change this background color. This is a secondary color. I basically can colorfully in red. I meant red. There's also a pencil tool. Basically brush, but different. Whatever fits for you, you can do. Let's do the eraser tool. Eraser tool is pretty self-explanatory. Let's change the size. It's a brush. Alright, and let's say I want to remove literally some of this. So like, let me change the flow real quick. I could simply just remove all this stuff. And if I use 100% opacity, that's all gone. Now moving on to the blur tool, and it's also pretty self-explanatory. I can change the brush size, and I can basically blur this cat. Now let's move on to the text tool. If I press on here, I can make a text. Now it's disappearing, can't really see it, but if I type something like cat, whoa, nice logo. Go up over here. You can even change the font. There are so many font options like this one, or maybe even this one. Change the color, orange or something. And this is complex, but you can also warp it. Like if I want it to be an arc, bend it a little bit. That's strange, but you can do that. You can do that. That's really cool. And I'm just gonna fill this up with cat or something like that. We have the pen tool to get and to draw or do anything like that. These are for like logos, and this is a cool tool that is also in Photoshop. Now of course it takes a lot of practice, but once you actually start getting used to it, it's pretty cool. You can also use free pen, where I can literally just draw whatever I want, like smiley face. Now we have these shape tools, which is really simple. I can make a rectangle, clips, I can change the fill to red. There you go. I literally have a circle. We also have this hand tool, which is really simple. Use the rotate, and you can easily rotate your photo. Check it out. Right click, hand tool, just move around. The zoom in tool, zoom in, press this thing, goes backwards. Now before we end this, let's talk about how to export and some extra stuff like the layers. Now if I right click on this layer, this cat layer, there are all these options, but we're mainly going to focus on blending options. I can change the fill. I could have this be a color overlay, so you can have black in there or something. Maybe you could do bevel and emboss, which is really cool, and you can mainly use it for text and stuff like that. But as you can see, it's kind of like a lighting feature. Now how do you export this file? Well, it's really simple. Press file, press export as PNG, whatever you want, PDF, anything. If you're not finished with it, you can also save it and then have it in your files. So next time you go into Photopea, just drop that file in and you can continue your work. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see my CapCut tutorial, go to my channel.